All right, well, we're going to go get started, everybody. Welcome to the October Family Day From sponsor call on the CHFP new meal pattern. Before we get started, let's take a quick roll call of all the people on the line. So let's start with CCDS. Who do we have on line from CCDS? Carolyn or Debbie, are you able to hear me? Can you update us? Are you on the line? Okay, so I see that you're here, so fantastic. Thank you. Unfortunately, can't hear you. If you have the opportunity to call on the line, please do so. How about Northwest Nutrition? We have on the line from Northwest Nutrition. Doesn't appear we have anybody on the line from Northwest Nutrition. And then Mid-Willamette, who do we have from Mid-Willamette?
Sue, Kathy, Laura, Carmen, Yelena, and Jackie.
Oh, great. Thank you, Sue. And then lastly, OCDC. Who's on from OCDC? I don't know if we have anybody. I don't see that OCDC is on the line either, so hopefully they'll be able to join us. Okay, so real quick review of the agenda. On your screen you should see our agenda for today's call. Today we'll review any meal pattern memos that USDA or ODE released on any meal pattern. And yes, it's officially October, meaning the new CSFP meal pattern is in effect. It must be implemented. Therefore, we wanted to have a check-in to see how it's going and see if you have what kind of questions you're getting from the field. And then lastly, we'll discuss portion sizes. So first, let's get started with a review of the USDA ODE memos issued since September 11th. And there was one memo that was issued, and it was issued by ODE CMP. On September 25th, we issued the Provider Monitoring Review Form memo, and enclosed with the memo was the ODE CMP Provider Monitoring Review Form, and it was discovered that there were some concerns with the form, so we are finalizing, updating, finalizing, and we will resend that to everybody, and we'll get that out as soon as possible. I just wanted to give one more opportunity for anybody on the line to if there's anything else with the form that you have concerns with, let us know now. If there aren't any, we'll go ahead and get that out. Okay, well, I'm not hearing there's anything else with that. We'll go ahead and finalize and get that out. We are going to take the template and we're going to add a question specifically to infants. So just pay attention when that comes out. So let's move on. So it's officially October 2017, which means the new meal pattern is in effect. So what I would like to do is just do a round robin and check in to see if there are questions that you all getting from the field that we can help with. So let's start. I'm going to go backwards this time. I don't see that OCDC. Is anybody from OCDC on the line? Okay, I don't believe we have anybody from OCDC calling in. And I don't see anybody from Northwest Nutrition on either. So, Sue, is there anything that you have encountered that you would like to bring up on this call?
No, Dustin, I think that it's going to be okay, once people get used to this and used to the way in which they have to write things. We, of course, are getting lots of calls on, what is a whole grain item and what do I need to take the picture of and so on and so forth. But I think overall it's, we'll just ease them into it. I mean, they have to do the new rules now, the new regulations, and we've got the transition period. We're making lots of comments on our Facebook and in our newsletter and letting people know they can call in at any time to get questions answered. I don't think there's going to be anything major at the moment.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you for sharing that. I think we all agree with you that it's going to be just fine. We'll all get through this. It's some changes, but I believe that all the providers will be fine.
Yep, I agree.
And then Carolyn, Debbie, anything that you would like to bring up on the call that you see potential questions in the field? If you can just send us the questions via chat if you have any, we'll go ahead and bring those up. So another thing, if you have any areas where you would like maybe some targeted technical assistance, let us know what areas would be helpful. For example, Sue, you brought up whole grains. If there's anything where we could help out with creating some technical assistance, we'd be happy to do that. So just reach out to your specialist if you have any of those areas, and we can collect those and see what we can put together.
Sounds good. Can I submit one right now?
Oh, that's asking a lot, Sue. Yeah, go ahead.
Specifically for providers that are caring for children that are gluten-free, you know, I did go on and find a small list of gluten-free whole grains. However, they're just mostly grains, not anything actually already in a loaf of bread or a tortilla. So if you could point me to where I could get a better understanding or more resources for providers that serve gluten-free kids, that'd be great.
We're noting that, Sue. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
We do have a question from CCDS asking about, they asked, please confirm that graham crackers are allowable. So if you recall, there was the USDA changed mid-course. So initially, sweet grain-based desserts, excuse me, are not allowable, not creditable. And initially, graham crackers were part of that, as they were categorized as a grain-based dessert. However, USDA decided that was not the case, and the graham crackers are not considered a grain-based dessert, and we did issue a memo on that, and I can't recall the date that went out, but we did send a memo notifying all sponsor that the graham crackers are not a grain-based dessert. And we also reissued the Exhibit A, which lists grain-based desserts, and graham crackers are not. So long-winded answer to that is graham crackers are allowable. They are creditable. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's move forward. We want to discuss portion sizes. And as we discussed last month on the call, ODE CMP received guidance that it's not required for providers to document portion sizes on the menus. And during our last month, we mainly focused on portion sizes on the child menus. After reviewing all applicable USDA guidance, this also applies to infant menus when documenting the food items served. Excuse me. USDA did come back and say it is up to the state agency to decide what would be considered proper documentation for menus, and so it's not required that providers document the portion size of food items on the menus for children. This also applies to infants. So there's no requirement that providers document portion sizes of the food items served for infants. However, they still need to document the actual food item, just not the portion size. And we are putting the final touches on our menu documentation policy, and we will get that out to you as soon as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up for questions. Is there any questions around that?
Dustin, this is Sue. I don't have a question about that, but I did really wonder if in October 2019 that will be a requirement. Do we know that yet?
For October 2019?
Uh-huh.
So are you asking that, Sue, because of we're going to be changing over to ounce equivalents?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no reason for us to think that USDA would then start to ask for portion sizes to be documented. However, we couldn't say definitively either way.
Okay.
We do know that we're going to be receiving additional guidance and hopefully training once we get closer to the ounce equivalent requirement. So, we'll make sure to notify everyone if there are any changes to the portion size requirement.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just real quickly, we sent a question to USDA just to see how to confirm the documentation of breast milk, express breast milk and formula, to confirm that portion size, the amount offered, that is still a requirement. So just FYI, we'll update you when we receive a response from USDA on that.
All right.
And Carolyn or Debbie, if you have any questions around that, please go ahead and just send me questions via the chat. All right. So any questions that anybody has outside of portion sizes? Thank you for offering up questions that you might be getting from the field. Is there anything else around the new meal pattern that we can answer for you? Let me also say that, is there any topics we talked about, what topics of technical assistance you would like? Is there any topics you want us to bring up on the call that you would find helpful?
Destin, this is Sue. I suppose it'd be great if we could share, once everybody can hear or talk on these calls, what's going well and what isn't.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. We can plan for that, Sue, for the next call. I think it's a really good idea because that will give you a good month. We're in it now, and to talk about what's going well and maybe what are some of the challenges you're still seeing. So let's plan for that for the next call.
Okay, thank you.
And Carolyn and Debbie, if you have any topics, if you want to send those to the chat, or you could just email me directly, that would be fine as well. All right. If anybody doesn't have anything else, we can go ahead and end the call. Thank you, everybody, again, for your time, and we will talk next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.